Hi, Steve Stine here again. I had a request to teach Am I Evil by Metallica, so I'm going to try and run through this as quickly as possible and get you as many parts as I possibly can in a short amount of time here. Okay, so remember, if you have any other questions or requests or anything like that, you can always click on the link, and I would be more than happy to get to your song requests. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing about this song is, of course, because it is a Metallica song, you're going to be using a lot of power chords and palm muting and things like that. And so I'm not really going to go through the descriptions of all of those things for you, simply because that would take up all the time that I have to try and teach the actual song. So just remember, you can always go back and look at some of my other videos that will teach you about those things if you have any questions about that. So to begin with, we're going to look at the first guitar part. So the first guitar part starts off by going to the 7th fret of the 5th string and making a power chord there. Okay, so the first part, what you're doing is going from 7, and then 5, 7, 8. This is all done on the 5th string power chord, and then heading up to 10. Now remember, if you make a power chord with 2 fingers versus 3 fingers, it doesn't make any difference. The most important thing about power chords is that when you strum them, you're only hitting the strings that you're supposed to hit. Yes, there are tricks that we can do to kind of deaden those out and things like that, and again, I have videos that talk about all those sorts of things. But in this video, the main thing is that you're just trying to make sure that you're being real tight when you play those power chords. Just little movements of the wrist. Okay, and then we're going to head down to that E power chord, the open power chord. So you're pressing on the 5th and 4th strings at the 2nd fret. Okay, and you're playing the top 2 or 3 strings there. So what's happening here is you're strumming and then you're palm muting. And you keep doing that over and over and over for the beginning of the song. So you're strumming, and then doing 3 palm mutes and then strumming again. Okay, so that's the first part. Now, over the top of that, the second guitar player comes in, and that's doing this section. Let it ring out. And then you go into the 7th fret and the 6th fret of the 6th string, and then you're heading back to the 1st fret. Heading back again. And all the while underneath that is that thing happening. So that's the first section of this. Okay, now when we come off that whole section, the 2 guitars are going to come together right after this section here. So after we come off that section, we're going to move into this. So right there, what you're doing is you're moving from the 5th fret to the 7th fret on the 5th string, and then you're jumping back down to that initial riff that we were doing over the open E power chord. So you've got... Okay, so again, in summary, we've got our beginning, which heads down to that first riff, and over the top of that, we hear the... So at that point, you're doing one or the other, and then they're both going to join on the... So you got to come off that slide right into your palm mutes. Then we're going to come off that and move into the next part that goes. And then instead of going to this chord, going to the 7th fret of the 5th string, we're just going to go to an open 6th string like this. Okay, so we're moving into a different riff there, and that's actually played over what's called a diminished scale. So that's what we're doing right there. So we're coming off that 5th fret of the 5th string, and we're just going to the 6th string open. And then you're going to play this sort of diagonal pattern here. You're playing 2nd fret to 1st fret on the 5th string, 3rd to 2nd on the 4th string, 4th to 3rd on the 3rd string, and then you have to actually jump up 2 frets to the 6th and 5th on the 2nd string because of the guitar's tuning. So you're going 2, 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 6, 5. Then you're going back to the 6, to the 8, to the 10, to the 12, and then we start a whole new little riff. So let me play that whole thing for you so you can hear that. Okay, then we move into this little fill, this kind of soloing thing there that we're going to be doing. And the goal with this is that you're going to be doing 2 hammer-ons. So make sure you understand what a hammer-on is. A hammer-on is when you're hitting the string instead of picking it. So I'm going to pluck the 0 of the 2nd string, and then I'm going to hit the 5th fret of the 2nd string with my index finger. I got to hit it. So I'm not picking it. And then I've got to hit the 8th fret of the 2nd string as well, and I'm going to do that with my pinky. Now, I know some people do it with their 3rd finger, and if you find that's easier for you, again, whatever works for you. The goal with all of these videos is just to have some fun and, you know, be as accurate as you want to be, but make sure that you're not, you know, getting overly stressed about them and you're just having a good time with these songs. So you're going 0, 5, 8. So what you have to do is you have to pluck the 0 every time. So you're learning how to hammer and then hammer again. Okay? And then what we're going to do is we're simply going to move backwards to 0, 4, 7. Then we're going to move back to 5 and 8. Then we're going to move up to 7 and 10. So the thing is you're always having the same distance of frets. 5 to 8, 4 to 7, 7 to 10. So if you're using your 1st and your pinky like I am, you'll continue using it every time. So let me just play it so you can hear what the whole thing sounds like here. Okay, so we're going from 0, 5, 8 to 0, 4, 7 to 0, 5, 8 to 0, 10, 7, 10, excuse me, back to 5, 8. So you'll notice this one, the first one here, is done 8 times. Then the second one's the same thing. And then you move back up to 5, 8. But you're only going to do 4 of those, and then you're going to move up to 7, 10, do 2, back to 5, 8, do 2 of those. So that part sounds like this. Then you move into 4, 7 again. And then you're going to end on a 0. Okay? So again, always remember, as you're playing these songs, if you get to a certain part in the song that's really difficult for you, don't sweat it. Just keep watching that part all over and you know, stop the video, practice it over and over and over, and then come back to the video. If you have any, you know, particular concerns with a certain technique, that's why you got to go back and watch a different video, or, you know, contact me or your guitar instructor or whatever, and kind of learn how those parts actually work.